What's going on, everybody? King of Dragons 5000 here, coming at you with another figure review. Today we'll be having a look at the Mattel WWE Elite Collection Series 72 Rey Mysterio. And so here we have Rey Mysterio posed in out of the packaging. Before we take a look at the figure, let's actually take a look at what he comes with. Rey Mysterio does come with two pairs of hands. He does come with a pair of open palmed hands. He does come with a pair of fist hands. And then we also do get a Rey Mysterio half shirt, which fits the figure pretty big, but that's pretty much how all shirts fit Rey Mysterio. Other than that, Rey Mysterio doesn't come with anything else. I would have liked to see a pair of grip hands, but there's enough detail on here to warrant the pickup, which we'll go over that right now when we have a look at Rey Mysterio's detail. And so here we have a closer look at Rey Mysterio. Now, one thing I do want to point out is that they did not use the Real Effects face printing technology on this particular figure. I don't know if you can tell, but his face is pretty much hand painted. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, but I kind of feel like they should find a way to do it with Rey Mysterio because it does look a little cartoony. I'm not a fan of the way this head sculpt looks. It's a nice head sculpt, but me personally, I don't like the way his face is. I would have liked to see either just a smile or no open mouth, because the fact that it's not photoreal, you can actually see that it's painted and it's not even clean. There's some slop in some areas. And I think my biggest complaint about it is that his skin tones don't really match. You can see his skin tone from his face that should be the same skin tone as his body is a little bit more dull, and that's because his head is cast in black plastic and then they just painted the flesh tone on him. I'm not too upset about the back of his head because you can just say that that's the way it would look with shaved hair, but you can see on the back it's really, really sloppy, and that's kind of not a good thing, especially when you take a look at this side and they actually did it really well. You can see some black poking through like you would actually see. Here it's like they just sprayed white and said, well, that's good enough. So yeah, it feels like the head on this figure is just good enough. It's not great, but it's just average. I do like the fact that the strap does hang off like it should. But again, it's just good enough. It's not great. Having a look at his torso, though, I think this is where this figure shines. You can see the Mysterio logos right here, just tattooed onto his chest, along with all the Mayan tattoos, which look really good. You can see his rosary tattoo goes, doesn't go all the way around like it should, but it still looks nice. I do feel like he's kind of missing some tattoo right here on his shoulder because it just kind of ends. But the detailing on his tattoo looks really, really nice, really like the Mexican tattoo on his stomach. You can see he does have some verses right here, which that's actually printed really well. I wish I could get a better zoom in, but if I zoom in anymore, it'll get blurry, so hopefully you guys can see that. He does have these really nice armbands, which are painted decently. I think the right is painted better than the left. The left one, you can see the dots are kind of just blah, but it's still good. Underneath that, we do have his tattoos. You can see the Mysterio mask. And then just all his tattoos going down his arm. We have the 619 right here. And then we have some more Mayan tattoos here. We have a star there. His armband tattoo, which he's had since WCW, as well as the sun tattoo. On the back, we do have a skull right there. And just overall love the amount of detail on this figure. You can see he even has that skull right here, that sugar skull. And then his spine tattoo, that looks really good. I really do like the way that came out. Credit where credit is due. It looks amazing. And it looks like he has a TIE fighter there. It's not a TIE fighter, it just looks that way. And then of course the cross right there. So just a lot of detail on his tattoos alone. Going on to his tights though, they are done okay, I would say. A lot of it doesn't line up just because of the way the figure is. You have to like line up certain parts, but then it skewers up some other area, so just get him standing and don't worry about lining up his attire because it would be a pain. As you can see, it lines up right here on the side when I have it like this, but not 100%. But then you really can't see the Mysterio logo right there. On the back it is done well, although there is some black on the back, so some paint did rub off. Right here it does say GOAT, although that's kind of hard to see. And of course the A does get a little skewered because it is on the peg itself. On this one it just says Rey and then 619, so that looks good. The white and the black are done really well, and the gold is done really clean, so I do like how clean the gold is. On his boots you can see he has a crown with Rey Mysterio, which of course does mean King of Mystery in Spanish. We have the 619 logo there. The white is done nice. 619 right there too. So just really like these little details right here. You can see the crosses are done well. Kind of sucks that we do have some scratching right here on that particular leg, and then we do have some bleeding issues where the paint wasn't applied properly. So overall, I think the number one issue I have with this figure is just paint is improperly applied, and maybe his ankles. His ankles do seem a little loose, but he's a pretty small figure, so he doesn't topple over like you would expect. But overall, I still like how he came out, so let's actually get him compared to other figures you may have in your collection. So here we have Rey Mysterio posed next to an Elite Brock Lesnar and a basic Jeff Hardy. And finally, here we have Rey Mysterio posed next to an Elite Tommaso Ciampa and an Elite Johnny Gargano. So as you can see, Rey Mysterio is quite a small figure, but that doesn't mean he doesn't have pretty good articulation. I think the main issue with his articulation is in the head and the abs, and we'll get into that right now. He does have a ball joint in the head, which doesn't really look up all too well because of how low it sits. Doesn't really look down too much, so we get a little bit of upward movement, we get a little bit of downward movement. Very little head tilt, but it is slightly there. Head does turn left and right, although because how low it sits on his neck, it kind of goes off at a weird angle, and I don't really like that. If you put some cotton in the head to raise it up a little bit, that would solve the problem, but again, I shouldn't have to do that. Mattel needs to sit the heads properly on the body. Arms do go out to about there, which is acceptable. Goes all the way around, no problem. He does have a bicep swivel, which works no problem. We do have a single jointed elbow, swivel, and hinge at the wrist, and these wrists are really tight. I do like that. His glove cuff doesn't really fit the arm. You can see it does have a tendency to slide down. I kind of wish that it didn't do that, so that's neither here nor there. Having a look at his abdomen joint, it doesn't go back. Like, it feels like it wants to go back, but I can't get it to go back, unfortunately. But I can get it to go forward, and being Rey Mysterio, I would expect that he goes forward much more, so they really need to work on the forward movement for smaller guys. He does have a really nice waist swivel. Legs do kick forward, full 90 degrees, go back, out to the side really well. When I got him out of packaging, this thigh would not rotate, but I do have it moving now. Same thing with the knees. These two are really tight, but they are moving. Really like the range here on the double jointed knees. We do have swivel at the boot. We do have a hinge in the ankle, which you can see mine is kind of loose, but it's not that big a deal because Rey Mysterio is actually a light figure, so it's not like the end of the world like a Drew McIntyre who kept falling over. Rey seems to stand fairly well, so I don't have too many issues with that. So hinge in the ankle works fine, and then we have some slight rocker ankle. So overall, really like the way this Rey Mysterio came out, despite the fact it has some paint issues. So let's actually go on to my final thoughts, and then we'll wrap up this review. So here we have Rey Mysterio posed for my final thoughts, and overall I really do like the way this figure came out, despite the fact I have issues with the paint. I can't say that he's a terrible figure, because paint apps vary from figure to figure, and it just so happened I got really unlucky with the paint apps, but I still like the way this Rey Mysterio figure came out. I do think that his open palm hands are just a little bit too big for the figure. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it does look a little odd because Rey is a smaller guy, and he has really big hands with the open palmed hands. I still like the fact that both hands are actually sculpted, so that's really nice. Again, paint apps are going to vary figure to figure, and Rey Mysterio has a lot of paint apps, so it's bound that some quality control issues arise here and there. So, do I recommend this Rey Mysterio? Absolutely. I'm a huge fan of Rey Mysterio. I have been since the days of WCW, and I'm really glad to have a Rey Mysterio in my collection. I honestly didn't have one, so having this Rey Mysterio in my collection is a welcomed addition. If you are looking for this Rey Mysterio, I have seen Elite 72 trickle out to Walmarts. I haven't seen them at Target, although I think I did see a Velveteen Dream, but I don't really recall. If you can find this Rey Mysterio and you need one in your collection, I really recommend you pick them up. And with that being said, guys, I'm KingofDragons 5000. Don't forget to like this video, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel. Go check out all my other action figure reviews as well as all my other WWE videos. Hopefully you find them informative. As always, if there's a figure you would like to see me review, let me know down in the comments, and if it's in my collection, I'll definitely have a look at it. While you're at it, don't forget to check out my Instagram account for new and exciting action figure photos. And as always, ring that bell to be notified every time I upload a video. Until next time, guys, I'll see you later. Take care, everyone.